An average day on Joe Biden. They've killed more Americans than any terrorist organization I know of. No one's going to convince me that not a single one of those 2 million gotaways didn't come here to do us harm. This open border was probably the biggest national security vulnerability this nation's ever seen. Under Joe Biden, you had 10.5 million people come to the border. Historic numbers every year, 4 years. Every year is a historic number. He kept breaking his own record every year. Most secure border in the history of this nation today. I go back to the over 2 million gotaways under Joe Biden. 2 million people crossed the border and weren't vetted, weren't fingerprinted. And like I said earlier, criminal cartels in Mexico control the border. You don't cross the border without paying them off or working through them. So why did 2 million people pay more to get away? That scares the hell out of me. If you look at the numbers, you know, under Trump 45, I think we arrested, in 4 years, we arrested a total of 13 people on terrorist watch lists. 13. Biden administration, they were getting more than 13 a day some days. So, you know, on top of building, you know, terrorist organizations. But now, you know, as you know, President Trump just declared, you know, MS-13 and TDA, Trinidad, Venezuela terrorist organizations. And I pushed for the criminal cartels to be designated terrorists. Again, wasn't my decision, but I've been talking about this for years. President Trump did it. I think it's the right thing to do. A lot of people say, well, how do you consider them terrorists? MS-13 in Trinidad and the criminal cartels in Mexico? Because they've killed more Americans than any terrorist organization I know of, by the thousands. Not only that, you know, these cartels in Mexico, they've killed thousands of journalists, prosecutors, judges. I mean, they run Mexico. Anybody thinks anything different, you're wrong. The criminal cartels in Mexico control that country. They did have operational control of their border, and we took it away from them.
Do you have insight into the motivations that are happening, not just with cartel terrorism, but more traditional terrorism, like stuff coming out of, you know, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Taliban, all of these different, Al-Shabaab, all these different, you know, I don't know what to call them. We'll just say more traditional type terrorists.
They want to destroy this country. I mean, I'm not a terrorism expert, but I read enough intelligence reports. We know they're here. I said for a long time, you know, it doesn't matter when, I think it's if. That's my opinion. I think a lot of people agree with me. 2 million gotaways. If we arrested 400 trying to get in, no one's going to convince me that not a single one of those 2 million gotaways didn't come here to do us harm. We were already, we were already shut down. Was it 8 from Tajikistan not too long ago that were planning an inside attack? Luckily, the intelligence community got some chatter on that. We were able to shut it down. We got a lot of unanswered questions by the administration. How about the 2 that entered through Quantico Marine Base? That has never been fully, you know, opened up to the American people what exactly that was. You don't hear anything about it. I'm looking into it now. But do I think there's terrorists that crossed during the Biden administration that's in this country right now? Absolutely. I'd be a fool to say I didn't think so.
Do you know how they're setting up at all within the country?
I do not know. I can just tell you, when it comes to Chinese, record amounts of Chinese nationals across the border. I've been around since 1984. These numbers exploded under Biden. And I know there's no way tens of thousands of Chinese nationals came from China to the United States. No way they came here without the cooperation of the Chinese government, Chinese organized crime. It just don't happen. Well, I think we all can agree to that. And what scares me more is why are they here? That scares me. We know they're already setting up, you know, places outside of military bases. We don't have the spy balloon.
Corporate espionage. I mean,
and the vast majority, it wasn't like family groups coming across. These were most of them were, you know, military-aged males, which again is a real serious national security concern. Why they're here? I think, it's being investigated. We're looking into it, and hopefully we'll get some, I'm sure things are being done in the intelligence community that I'm not involved in right now, but deep national security concern. I've said it many times. This open border was probably the biggest national security vulnerability this nation's ever seen. Now, the media just a couple weeks ago said, we're deporting less people than Joe Biden. Yeah. Why? Because the border's shut down. The border's secure. A lot of Biden removals, they're counting ICE removals and Border Patrol removals together. You had millions of people coming across every year, right? And they did remove a certain percentage of them. We could remove 100% of people we encounter, and Joe Biden can remove 5% of people he encounter. He's still going to beat us. The border was unsecure. You had 10.5 million people come across the border in 10 years. But if you look at ICE arrests, their true deportation number, ICE arrests,
5 million people.
we're killing them on ICE deportation. But they won't say that. They fudge the numbers on purpose. It looks like we're doing less, and we're not. ICE is arresting and deporting a lot more people. Under Joe Biden, you had 10.5 million people come to the border. Historic numbers every year, 4 years. Every year is a historic number. He kept breaking his own record every year. Same time, you have historic illegal immigration on the southern border. ICE under Biden had the lowest numbers of removals, arrests, that they arrested, not Border Patrol. No, lowest number of arrests and removals by ICE in the history of the agency. At the same time, you had unprecedented crossing on the border. We've turned that around. We got the most secure border in the history of this country right now. ICE has arrested about 3 times more criminals than Biden ever thought of arresting.
I mean, I remember.
If you look at the numbers right now, Sean, an average day on Joe Biden, 1,800 gotaways that you and I talked about. Every day. 1,800. The other day we had 38.
1,800 a day.
We had 38 the other day. You look at the numbers, apprehensions a day. 10, 12,000 under Biden many, many times. A few times got to 15. But let's just take 10, 12,000 because there were a lot of those days.
That's almost 800,000 a year
Well, of course, yeah.
under Biden.
What was the Galloway number the other day? 41. 41 too many. I'll be happy when it's 0. 1,841. The number that impressed me the most is those they released into the country. So the first 100 days under Trump, 9 people were released from the border under Trump. 4 of them were material witnesses. We wanted them here to testify in a serious criminal case. 4 were extreme medical conditions. We had to take them to a hospital or they're going to die. Extreme medical conditions. We just can't deport somebody in a bad way like this. Can't do it. Talk about being inhumane. And 1 was a discretionary release for humanitarian reasons. So out of those 9 releases, 1 was really discretionary. 9 total. Same time frame under Biden, 100 days, 184,000 people were released into the United States. That's what President Trump has done for this border. Again, most secure border in the history of this nation today.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.